Good afternoon, everybody. Hookset Ninja here. Finally bringing you the review of the new boat. As you can see, it's another Titan, but it's 13.5. I am super happy to have this. There's some things about this boat that very much surprised me that I didn't know I was getting. There's some things here that, maybe aren't as great as what I was hoping. But we're going to go through the good, bad, the ugly on the initial look at this boat. I've yet to have it out on the water. I expect only great things if it's anything like my 10.5 Titan. We of course have the 701 Propel Drive, which is an upgrade over the 601. But there's a lot of goods to this, and I'm very, very excited about getting this going now that I sold my Hobie PA14, so I have every expectation that it'll be worth it. Because again, I had the PA14 and I looked at that, and I had it all last year as my primary boat, and I still wanted to go back to the Titan 10.5. There was just something about it that just fit. There's little things about it that just seems to fit really well from where I'm sitting, where I'm at in any kayak, and just how well put together and thought out for fishing the Titan series is, and for that the Slayer Max as well. They're kind of very similar now on some of the features that really matter. So where do we start? Let's start with the goods. The goods, Propel Drive. Now being able to say that I've been in a Jackson big rig with that drive. I've now been in the Hobie with the flip-up fin, just the 180 flip-up fins, and obviously having experience with the Propel Drive. I was a mechanic, 10 years, ASE certified. I look at things through a little bit different lens than a lot of people, and one thing that I want is reliability. This Propel Drive is reliable. It has the fewest pieces to go wrong of any drive system out there. It is pretty well as bulletproof as you could possibly get, in my opinion. The upgrades that they have done to get, to listen to the customers and go from the really, crappy pedals that the 601 Drive used to have on it to getting some really nice bicycle pedals that you can put the pins in for grip, and then also we mount on one side. That they saw what the customers were doing, and they just said, we're going to up the ante and get it done out the box, and that's really impressive. The weed guard, again, I put a weed guard on my 10.5 Titan. It made a world of difference. Now they come with it right out of the box. So again, this Propel Drive is bulletproof. Now, it's of course, you're going to feel it if you hit something, but that's a consequence that I'm willing to have in comparison to know that I can have a propeller if it breaks, and I can change it on the water in 2 minutes and be back going again, because everything else is bulletproof. So it's just, this in my opinion is the drive to have. Moving on from there, just the Titan whole design. It is the most stable boat out there. After being in a PA14, the PA14, I will give you, is probably a little bit faster than this, but from a stability standpoint, my 10.5 I think had more initial stability in it than the Hobie did. So jumping over to the 13.5 Titan, I fully expect this thing is going to be just even that much more stable, because again, I'm gaining like 3.5 inches, I believe it is, of width alone, and another 3 feet to the total length of the boat. So that's just going to be huge stability. Another thing of Native listening to their customers is the seat. They have done some changes to the seat to, again, give us what we were doing anyways as anglers to make it fit what we wanted. So they came out and they gave us a 2-inch extension built into the frame here, that now you can buy a junk tray and actually install the junk tray right inside and underneath this seat for these Titans. So that's just incredible. Again, listening to the customers, listening to what they're doing, watching our YouTube videos to figure out what we're doing, what they can improve on. So that is huge. that extra height is again, so many people that's what they're looking for, and this boat can handle it stability wise, so why not give it to the people? I did also notice the back of this seat. They have designed this so that it's not as straight up and down. It's actually kicked back and leaned back. And I will tell you, the big thing to that is this. If you have your PDF on, as you should, it is setting you up to where that is not in the way anymore. You're not hitting this. It's going to be super comfortable while you're wearing your life preserver. So huge win. Huge win there as well. Of course, they have the standard seat base, which has all the attachments for you to be able to, put your fish grips and your pliers and your scissors and a way to attach your hog trough to it, or your catch board, I guess, if you will, the catch board onto it, and having plenty of room. That's another reason why I really love it, is I can just pull it out and set it right there on my catch board. It's right where everybody else does it, but it just works. It just works. A lot of the shortcomings that the Titan series used to have was their steering system. Let's be completely honest. Why do you think Burley Pro's doing everything they've done, and Boondocks did everything they did with the rudder system? It was because the old system sucked. And I am really excited, and I'll give you guys more information on the water and further videos, to have the new spring blade system. That is one thing Hobie did definitely have right on the PA-14. That rudder would flip down, and it was so butter smooth and easy to turn in comparison to the Native. The Native definitely turns a heck of a lot better, but the act of taking and turning your steering is so much easier on the PA-14. So my expectation for this is that while I may want to upgrade the handle just so it feels better in my hand, I don't think it's going to be necessary. I don't think it's going to be a requirement at all. And the tracking of this boat should be that much more improved and increased with that rudder being able to drop down and more like, and act more as a skeg almost, with it being underneath that boat to align with the front. And that's just going to make 13.5 feet just impossible to turn. It's going to just track so much better and hopefully keep from blowing you around in the wind. So that on the steering system, I think, is going to be a major upgrade. I personally, unlike a lot of people, I personally love horizontal rod storage. That is one thing the PA-14 definitely had in spades. It was great. But this Titan still fits. I usually only run 4 rods anyway. I'm not a guy that runs a ton of rods. If I am, then yeah, I'm going to stick them up in the back and we're going to go about that way. But just to be able to throw 4 rods in, the rod storage, strap them down, and then put it be able to put it on my trailer and just go and leave my rods in there until I get where I'm going. It's really nice to have that and have that storage in the boat so that I don't have to worry about putting it in and out of my Jeep Wrangler. So, because as you all know that own those, there's not a ton of space even with the 4-door to be able to throw those big items in there. Let's see here. Now, one of the big things, and I'm still working on this. I'm sure they're going to get back with me, but I had to run this through the dealer, which was OKC Kayaks, and they've been fantastic to work with. Absolutely incredible customer service for OKC Kayaks. So check them out if you are in the Midwest. Again, I'm in the Kansas area, and that is the closest dealer that I have to being able to get a native dealer. And those guys, I mean, they've done me very well. So one of the big complaints that I have about this boat, and I don't even know if it's a complaint. One of the big differences I didn't know about, and this is a huge thing that nobody's talking about, is the fact that these Titans no longer come with that foam lining inside of them. I had no idea that was the case. And whenever I first figured that out, I was very disappointed, because that was, to me, seemed like one of the big trademarks and a high expectation for these, was that you just had that security there. But as I did my research, and again, I'm kind of going out on forums to find out, because there's very little of anyone that's talked about it, there's definitely not a video that's talked about it, is that they have made the plastic substantially thicker in this kayak. It is I mean, it is substantially thicker. I mean, we're talking, I mean, it's making up for that plastic, that foam plastic missing. So at least I know they did that. And in all reality, as I've had time to think about it, that probably is an advantage, because you're going to have your keel that might have worn out, you know, and that's why we have all the keel guards and everything. I'm still going to build one and put one on this, but the thought of that plastic being so much thicker before you would have reached the foam is a huge deal, because it's gonna take a heck of a lot more beating before you put a hole through this hole. I will say, just by standing on the platform of this and standing on my 10.5 that has the foam in it, a lot of guys, you know, you talk about that's a big part of the rigidity of the kayak, and I agree. But the way that this is built, with more scupper holes on this 13.5, structurally, even without the foam, there is no more flex in the bottom of this where you're standing than there was in the 10.5, in my 10.5 with the foam liner in it. So if anyone is concerned that that would make a difference, don't have any concerns there, because there isn't any. It is super solid. It is going to be just exactly what you're expecting there. For those of you that don't know the spring blade system, this is your drop to be able to drop your rudder, and there is an adjustment when you put this on down underneath. See that connects to here, and it drops down through your steering system, and it drops your rudder down. Now, a big thing whenever you first get these, because these don't come already put together, you have to take and put this in here. This has a sequence to be able to tighten and loosen the spring. So be sure that you do your due diligence and you make sure that this gets tightened so that your rudder actually kicks down like it's supposed to, because otherwise it's not going to work. So just pro tip there. As you can see, they also, with these newer ones, they've already made a slot in there so you can add some accessories to the track without having to take your hand grips off. That could be highly useful. I personally like the other design for the 12 and the 10.5, where they kind of had the cup holder and the rod stager here for the boat. I think that's highly useful. I use it a lot, but it's all in one on the 13.5 and always has been. That's okay. I just added a cup holder right behind it, so I'm still getting the best of both worlds. It's really not changing anything for me, and it's still working just as designed. Let's see here. What else am I missing? The Yak Attack. Let's talk about this. In my last video, I was talking to you about the Yak Attack cart system. And how easy it is to move a Titan. And I'm hoping you can see this. Let me put this back here a little bit. Yeah, you'll be able to see this. All right, so this Yak Attack cart system for a 180-pound boat, plus my gear that I've got in it right now. I mean, look at this. It just 3 fingertips. I can pick it up, and there's a little bit of weight here. I mean, I'm not going to say that it's, 10 pounds or what have you, but if you're capable of hauling around, 50 pounds or so on wheels on carts, you're going to pick this up and move it with ease, instead of feeling like you're, taking the whole weight of the 180 pounds like I did, because my buddy has a 13.5. Call out to Hookset Jutsu. He's got a 13.5, and I've tried to haul that before, and that is a bear. And he's got the boondocks on it, the shorter boondocks, and that thing is a heavy feeling boat, because it is ridiculously heavy. These Yak Attack cart, it completely changes the game on being able to move this around. It absolutely changes the game. So, and for example, I'm just going to go ahead and show you this lip is about 8 inches tall. and we're gonna roll it. Let's see how I can do this. We're gonna roll it up over that lip. So, as you can see, it rolls up really nicely as long as you got the wheels placed straight. Before I got to this little edit and cut, I had an issue with it. It's my fault. The pad had slipped, so I didn't have the rubber pad on the bottom where it needed to be, so it was wanting to move and shift around. But as long as you're setting on the pads like you should be, where they need to be, I rolled that up about an 8-inch little bump here with effortlessly, and all I had to do was make sure that it was positioned right on those pads. I don't even have it strapped down, so that tells you how good those rubber pads are on the Yak Attack cart, and how much contact they make with this Titan to be able to get it and move it without even having to put any straps. Now, if you're going to be doing some super rocky terrain or something a little bit off-road in the grass or whatever, probably want to strap it down. If you're just doing a boat ramp, there is absolutely no reason to strap this down, I don't think, just based off of what I've been able to do rolling it around here. So keep that in mind. Hope you like the review of the new 13.5 Titan. There's definitely been some changes made to it. I wouldn't be afraid of them. I'll let you know as I'm on the water in the videos coming up soon. And let you know what I think for sure once that happens. Appreciate your time. Talk to you later.